Welcome to Fall Summit, a story-based podcast about tales, trails, and epic fails. I'm Octavia.
And I'm Em.
For those of you just joining, we're going to bring you 2 stories and our thoughts on the tales, ending with Trail Mix, where Em will bring you 3 songs, and then I will be doing trail etiquette and other shit.
Other shit.
How you doing today, Em?
I'm doing okay. I think there's a lot going on in the world right now, and it kind of feels a little heavy.
Oh, are you talking about the California, LA craziness that's going on?
Yeah, specifically. I have a coworker actually who was talking to me. I was asking how their break was because we had that week off
Right.
from work. And she was saying that it was a lot because her partner's brother, who lives in LA with his family, lost their entire home and they have no other housing options. So they are now having to move to Colombia, where they have dual citizenship in order to rebuild their lives, which is a lot.
That's so crazy and so sad.
Yeah.
But I heard that a lot of neighborhoods are getting destroyed.
Yeah. I mean, entire neighborhoods gone, families displaced, lives completely upended. It's awful.
Have you seen the videos of whole neighborhoods just once they were there and then they were gone?
Yes.
Like just streets.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
And it's not just homes, it's everything. It's schools, businesses. I did hear that a woman tried to go to a Starbucks and like put it in her little GPS and put in like closest Starbucks, went to the Starbucks was on the ground. There was no Starbucks. It was
I don't really feel bad for her. Why are you trying to go to Starbucks during this fucking tragedy?
No.
Why do you need that badly?
I don't know.
Make
It's
coffee at home if you're fortunate
Don't-
enough to still have your home.
yes.
And if you're not fortunate enough to still have your home, don't be spending money on coffee.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You can't get your vento, maca choco, whatever, latte. I don't know. Those made up words, I can't keep them straight.
Yeah.
It's small, medium, and large. Don't make up words. They're not real.
And that kind of that's a good transition actually into like, I feel like the impact on people who are already vulnerable is way more than people who can afford to get Starbucks every day.
Yeah.
Like so many of the hardest hit areas are home to people of color, working class families, immigrants. And those are the folks who don't always have the resources to rebuild or even find temporary housing. Like Airbnb, I know is like giving people stays for free.
Yeah. I did hear that too.
If you don't know about that or like you've never spent time in an Airbnb or don't even know what Airbnb really is, then
I would think that most people, even if they can't or haven't ever used it, know what Airbnb. I mean,
you know that for a fact.
I don't actually know that for a fact. So. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, and the queer community too is being affected. We already know that the LGBTQ plus folks face higher rates of housing insecurity as it is. Imagine being in that position and then losing what little stability you had to a fire. Like, I don't even know where you'd even start to recover at that point.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's like part of it too, is how the recovery process feels so uneven. And not just this scenario, but a lot of scenarios that have been happening lately. You see these wealthier neighborhoods getting aid, rebuilding faster because of that aid and the money coming in, while these marginalized communities get left behind. And I feel like that's just, it's fire, adding fuel to the fire for what's already a glaring reminder of the systemic inequities that were already there from the beginning.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also, you know, people that have money are going to be spending some of that money to protect their money. So a lot of the wealthier communities will have like insurance policies on their house, fire insurance. Whereas I don't know if I could afford like housing insurance or whatever.
Right.
Fire protection, flood protection. I mean, I don't think Californians need flood protection, but a lot of other places do. But when you have an insurance policy, you can make a claim and then they just give you the money that of what you're paying for.
Yeah. Not
And
necessarily right away though, because like
no,
I feel like these insurance companies are probably getting a lot of claims right now.
oh yeah,
And I'm not sympathizing with the insurance
no,
companies, but
they
I'm
have
just
enough
saying.
money. It's fine.
But yes, you're right that a lot of people can't afford that, even if it's a good idea to have.
Yeah, it's expensive to have. I mean, health insurance is expensive to have. Housing insurance, building insurance, property insurance is also very expensive. And if you are just barely getting by, then you're not going to be spending it on that. You're going to be spending it on like, other life necessities, which, and in this case, the marginalized communities are definitely going to be left behind. That was very well said. But it's not just the people, it's also, I mean, the wildlife is getting displaced also, you know? There's whole ecosystems that are getting destroyed right now.
Yeah, it kind of feels like the land is grieving also. At the same time, I have seen like all over Instagram acts of resilience in terms of like mutual aid groups stepping up, people raising money, opening their homes. It's neighbors helping neighbors, that kind
Mm,
of thing. So community can still be a lifeline even in these harrowing circumstances.
yeah, dark times
Dark
right
times
now.
are
And
upon us.
LA is going to take a long time to rebuild too.
Yeah, but this is, and I don't want to get into like everywhere, but like we're just talking about a singular place in the United States.
Yeah,
Like there's so many places outside of the United States right now. Um, Gaza, for example.
that's true.
How could they ever rebuild?
Yeah.
Like LA has a chance, a
Yeah.
fighting chance.
There's a lot of money there.
Um, and it's awful, but there's so many places outside of the United States that are going through all of these crazy issues. So it's just like a really weird time to be alive.
Yeah, it is. It's only going to get
And
weirder.
I feel like it's only going to get weirder. Yeah. But like, I also feel like sometimes I don't want to do this, but like, I feel myself having to turn off, like, dissociate
Yeah,
to a certain degree.
in order to survive.
Yeah. Because, like, you know me, I feel things very strongly.
Yeah.
But then again, like, I, sh- I feel like I should be also feeling these things really strongly. Like, it's important to not numb yourself to what other people's pain is. But how can you feel everybody's pain?
And not go insane.
Yeah, but then again, like the society as a whole needs to feel more empathy as a whole, like collectively. Like one person can't take it on all of it
No,
themselves.
no.
But if we all felt like a little more empathy towards humans and people dying,
Yeah.
and at huge numbers, then maybe like things would change a little bit. I don't
Yeah, I mean, but it's only going to get, I mean, these fires particularly they're getting more frequent, they're
Yeah.
getting more intense, more destructive, and it's all climate change. It's what we've done this to ourselves. I mean, you know.
Yeah. And I think it's important that platforms such as ours, like a podcast or something
Yeah.
like that, that we hold space for those who are grieving and hurting. And if anyone listening wants to help, there are organizations doing a lot of work for displaced families, especially in marginalized communities. And we'll link some in the show notes.
Yeah, yes, we will definitely put, necessary links in the show notes. I mean, I know you can also find a bunch of it online too. So, but we'll put them in there. Yeah, I hope that everybody out there is, staying as safe as possible, and we're thinking about you. You're in our hearts and our minds. But I think that after that, we should probably just get right into our stories, unless you have any personal grievances. Not about me, because I'm perfect, but about anything else.
No, as you said,
I'm
you're
perfect.
perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the first story is called Rivers, Rain, and Rescue. And I'm just gonna dive right in.
Go for it.
On the morning of Thursday, January 31st, 2019, three friends, Avery, Chloe, and Alex set out on what they thought would be an exhilarating 3-day backpacking trip in the Los Padres National Forest. Their plan was straightforward: hike from the Piedra Blanca trailhead in Rose Valley to the Willett Hot Springs, soak in the steaming pools, and return to their car by Saturday evening. It was supposed to be a mini escape into nature, but it became an ordeal they'd never forget. Avery, the de facto trip leader, had meticulously mapped out the route. Chloe, the group's optimist, was in charge of morale and snacks, while Alex, a self-proclaimed survivalist, had packed enough gadgets to rival a small army. Spirits were high as they began their trek under a clear sky, trading jokes and dreaming of the soothing hot springs awaiting them. But by Friday evening, the weather turned. A storm rolled in faster than predicted, bringing relentless rain that soaked everything. The trio's waterproof gear proved to be anything but. Chloe tried to keep spirits up, singing snippets of songs, but even she faltered as the temperatures plummeted. By Saturday morning, the Sespe River, a calm, shallow stream when they arrived, had transformed into a raging torrent, cutting them off from the trail back to safety. When Avery, Chloe, and Alex failed to check in with their families on Saturday evening, concern quickly escalated. The Ventura County Sheriff's Office received a call about the overdue hikers, and despite worsening conditions, 2 Lockwood Valley deputies responded immediately. Rain turned to snow, and Highway 33, the route to the trailhead, was littered with ice, rocks, and mud. But the deputies pressed on, determined to find the trio. Upon arriving at the Piedra Blanca trailhead, they found the group's car parked, its windows fogged over, a clear sign the hikers were still somewhere in the wilderness. The Sheriff's Office Air Unit deployed Copter 9 to aid in the search. Pilots and crew chiefs donned night vision goggles to navigate the dark skies as the storm raged. Meanwhile, the ground team pressed on, battling the elements until they spotted the hikers about a mile east of the trailhead. The friends were stranded on the north side of the now impassable river. Their soaked clothing clung to them, and they huddled together for warmth. "Over here," Alex yelled, waving a flashlight that barely cut through the rain. The deputies on the opposite side of the river shouted back, but crossing the torrent was out of the question. Moments later, Copter 9 arrived, its searchlight slicing through the gloom. The crew located the hikers and managed to land near the river despite the treacherous conditions. Crew members waded through the freezing rain to reach the trio. Chloe's lips were blue, Avery's hands trembled uncontrollably, and Alex was barefoot after losing his boots to the mud. "We've got you," a crew chief reassured, wrapping them in emergency blankets. With limited space on the helicopter, 2 crew members voluntarily stayed behind in the freezing conditions so all 3 hikers could be flown out together. Copter 9 lifted off, the warmth of its interior a stark contrast to the icy storm outside. By the time they landed at the trailhead, the hikers were visibly shaken, but grateful. Avery stumbled out of the helicopter first, barefoot and shivering. Chloe followed, wrapped in her emergency blanket. Alex brought up the rear, his clothes drenched and clinging to his frame. Deputies provided warm clothing, food, and water, helping them regain some semblance of comfort. After being medically evaluated, the trio was deemed healthy enough to drive home. They were lucky. Their families had known their exact plans and sounded the alarm when they didn't check in. Without that, the outcome could have been much graver. The sheriff's office emphasized the importance of proper planning for outdoor adventures. The hikers learned the hard way that checking the forecast and preparing for worst-case scenarios can mean the difference between a memorable trip and a disaster. As they drove away, Chloe quipped, "So next time Vegas?" Avery and Alex burst into laughter, a shared moment of relief after their harrowing ordeal. The lesson was clear. Nature doesn't forgive mistakes, but with preparation and a little luck, even the scariest situations can become stories to laugh about, eventually.
Eventually. That sounds like a
Keyword eventually.
Eventually, yeah, keyword eventually. What do you
Yikes.
think of that story? That was crazy.
That was crazy. I thought because of the blue lips thing,
Oh, yeah.
I thought for sure that one of them had hypothermia.
Yeah, no, me too. I mean, maybe like a mild case of hypothermia, for sure. I mean, I don't really know this area very well, but I do know that in some areas, storms can just come out of nowhere.
Right, and be really intense all of a sudden.
Really intense all of a sudden. So, I mean, it sounds like I don't know what happened between on the trail that got them stuck on the wrong side of the river, but that does not sound like fun.
No, I don't think that I would ever enjoy that scenario.
No.
There's no way in hell that I would enjoy that ever.
It sounds like they did the right thing and told people where they were going to be, even though they got stuck out there, the response crew was able to find them. But the craziest part of the story we're completely skipping over is that they couldn't fit everybody in the helicopter. And two of the rescuers stayed behind on the other side of the river. So because they couldn't fit everybody in the helicopter. So they must have had to the helicopter must have had to go back and get them. That's dedication though.
It is dedication. That's their job.
I mean, it is their job, and they're probably
They're not
dressed.
gonna be like, you guys stay behind,
Yeah.
you blue-lipped, barely dressed humans.
Yeah, why were they? How did they get so barely dressed?
Well, they must have had them strip out of their clothes if they were wet, or
I don't know. The procedure is you find the people, they're soaking wet. Here's an emergency blanket.
yeah, you take them out of their clothing, their wet clothing, because if you wrap them in an emergency blanket in wet clothing, it's not
Right.
going to be as effective
No, that's true.
as if you get out of the clothing and then wrap yourself in a blanket.
That's dry.
That's dry.
Yeah, that's true. I can't believe that one person lost their shoes in the mud.
Walking outside barefoot in cold conditions is not fun.
Why? Your feet are always hot. They're like little.
Oh, my feet are always freezing.
Really?
Freezing.
Have they always been like that?
Yes. And more so lately, I'm constantly, my feet are cold.
Huh. Well, you need to work on your blood circulation then. Blood circulation. Well, I just can't believe they lost their shoes. They lost their way, apparently. But also, what I'm thinking what happened is they were hiking. The storm came in. They had crossed that river earlier, and it was like a small river.
Right.
And then when they got back down, now after the storm, this raging storm, it is now a raging river, and they can't cross back over it.
Yeah, imagine how scary that must have been.
Right? And I don't even know if it said they were able to contact emergency help. They didn't even know people were coming to help them. You know what I mean?
Right.
They were just like standing in the cold, freezing water mud, being like, I hope somebody's coming.
Yeah, that's all you can do is hope.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad they made it out. I'm glad that the SARS team was able to, the deputies or whatever, Copter 9, was able to get to them and save them before anything worse happened. And they could have got swept down the river. They could have got hypothermia, and it could have been worse.
Could have been a lot worse.
Could have been a lot worse. Anyway, you ready for story number 2? Bare necessities. A few years back, we decided to go camping in the breathtaking Adirondacks. We know about the Adirondacks, right, Em?
No, I've never been.
You were so funny.
Have you?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
it's on my bucket list.
Family has a cabin there.
Oh, that Adirondacks.
Yeah, the only one.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I got confused for a second
about the other Adirondacks that doesn't exist in your insanity.
I mean, there's a different plane of existence, I feel like. So the Adirondacks that I was talking about was on the other plane of existence.
Oh, great.
Okay. But the one you were talking about was on
this plane of existence. Yes. Can you please stay on this plane of existence?
Yep.
Thank you so much. Okay.
I'm just over here being a mystic and a prophet.
You're just a something.
Yep.
Well, these guys were going, guys or gals, were going on a breathtaking Adirondacks camping trip.
I'm excited.
I'm excited for them.
For them.
Yes. The group was armed with all the gear for a 4-day backpacking adventure. Among our shiny new equipment was a bear canister, our first. We were excited about it. But as it turned out, we might not have latched it properly, or maybe bears just have gotten smarter. Who knows? Either way, we woke up one morning to the unmistakable sound of a bear rummaging around right next to our tent. Imagine the panic. My friend scrambled out of the tent like a startled rabbit. I could hear him yelling, "Hey, Get out of here. Suddenly, his voice shifted, and I distinctly heard him say, "Oh shit." That's when I knew things had taken a turn. My heart was racing. Had the bear charged him? I could practically feel the adrenaline pulsing through me as I peeked out, still cocooned in my sleeping bag. Just moments later, Mike dashed back into the tent wide eyed. The bear was right there. It charged at me. Seriously, what did you do? I asked, half expecting a detailed account of some heroic act of bravery. Well, he admitted, a sheepish grin creeping across his face. I panicked and waved arms like a lunatic. I couldn't help but laugh nervously. Did it work? Kind of. The bear eventually wandered off. After the bear ambled away, he managed to secure the canister, moving it a bit further from the tent. But lo and behold, that clever bear returned for round two. At this point, I couldn't just lie there. I climbed out of the tent, donning my headlamp. As a 125-pound woman, I wasn't exactly a bear fighting powerhouse, but I was furious. You've got to be kidding me. Not only am I facing off against a bear 6 miles into the woods, but our entire trip could be ruined if it eats all our food. With my heart in my throat, I raised my headlamp, scanning the woods. Where is it? I whispered to myself. Suddenly, there it was, about 200 yards away, maybe. It's hard to judge distance when you're scared shitless. Do you see it? I whispered, my voice barely above a breath. Yeah, it's just standing there, he replied, clutching a stick like it was a sword. Together we yelled and waved our makeshift weapons above our heads, looking ridiculous but desperate. To our relief, the bear ambled off again, but not before I caught a glimpse of its glowing eyes watching us from the shadows. Did you get a good look at it? I asked, still feeling the weight of the moment. Just its eyes, like little lanterns in the dark, my friend said, visibly shaken, but trying to keep it together. After a while, the bear finally moved away for good, and we managed to secure the canister properly. Hopefully. The next morning, we opened the canister, our hearts racing with hope and dread. To our astonishment, the bear had only gone after the chocolate and Gatorade mixes. Everything else, the freeze-dried meals we had carefully packed, was untouched. Can you believe it? I exclaimed, relief flooding through me. It could have been so much worse. Right? We actually survived a bear encounter, my friend said, still laughing. Next time, we're definitely checking the latch twice, I said, shaking my head at the absurdity of it all.
What'd you think of that story?
That was funny. That's funny.
Yeah, some of their reactions. I'm sorry, but some of their reactions and the way they say things, I'm like, that's really how you're talking right now with a bear almost attacking you. Like his eyes were like lanterns.
Lanterns.
Glowing in the dark. It's fucking creepy.
Yeah, their eyes are like hellhounds.
Yeah.
Getting ready to eat me, tear my face off. No, thank you. No, thank you.
And how do we know it was a bear that got back into the canister? Because why would a bear only take the Gatorade mix
Yeah.
and the chocolate?
Maybe their friend, there wasn't a bear the first time.
Yeah,
and they were just getting the munchies.
That's what I'm thinking. Is that they poured Gatorade powder all over their chocolate bar and had a snack.
Yeah. They're like, I'm hungry. I got the munchies. Oh, there's a bear. And then the bear came back, but it really was a bear this time. It was just dumb luck that there was a bear around, actually. But yeah, no, I think that their friend just got the munchies, wanted to eat the chocolate and Gatorade packets. Oh, gross. Gatorade packets. That sounds like not a fun snack. But when you're high, I guess you'll eat just about anything.
Guess so.
I don't know. I'm assuming they're little black bears, right?
Yeah, probably. Black fight back.
Brown lay down. White you're dead.
It doesn't even rhyme. There's
Doesn't
gotta
rhyme.
be something else.
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing else. I do know that for a fact. We've covered a bunch of bear episodes. And this one's funny. This one's less scary and more just silly. And I'm living for it right now.
Me too.
Yeah. Silly bears. Oh, you're so cute. I mean, bears are cute, though.
They can be. I think.
From afar.
Yeah, and also like Disney movies have made them out to be cute.
Yeah.
Like
That's
and
true.
Brother Bear, and I don't know if that's Disney, but you know
Whatever.
what I mean.
Cartoony ones, yeah.
Pixar, Disney, yada yada.
The whole genre.
Yeah, Jungle Book.
Oh, yeah. Bare necessities. That's what this story is called.
Bare necessities.
The simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strive. All right. Anyway.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, that's a perfect segue into drum mix. We're singing already.
It is.
Is your first song going to be Bare Necessities?
I wish. It is not. But that is a good song.
Yeah,
now I'm thinking of all the really good songs that Disney has had. Like, I'll make a man out of you.
Okay.
Time is racing. Okay.
Okay. Give it a little bit much.
Mulan is really good.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay. I agree.
But before I get into trail mix, I actually did want to just talk about David Lynch a little bit.
Oh, sure. David Lynch moment. Okay.
And I think we should have a moment of silence because David Lynch just passed away, which is wild to me. The way that David Bowie's death hit David Lynch's death. Maybe I should have, you know how I have the tattoo on my arm of David
Bowie, yeah.
Maybe I should have an arm of David's.
Oh, just the David arm.
So I'll have a David Lynch, I'll have a David Bowie. Who else can we add? Any other Davids, you know?
David from down the block.
I don't know, David.
David the deli guy?
Definitely not Dave Chappelle. That's not happening. David Beckham, no.
No.
David Attenborough, that wouldn't be bad. I could do like
Attenborough. Yeah, that would be cute. I like him. David Attenborough.
Dave Letterman. That would be funny. Dave Matthews if I was in the 90s.
I like Dave Matthews.
Oh God.
You're weird. Little weirdo.
But anyway, that's just a thought.
A David arm.
A David arm. Or it could just be the two. Anyway, so David Lynch passed away yesterday.
I know.
Which is wild. He would have been 79 on Monday.
Oh wow. Okay.
So in the grand scheme of things, he wasn't that old. 78 is old. It's not.
No, you can get much older than that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he was a smoker, a lifelong smoker. He had emphysema. His family did not disclose the cause of death, but my gut is saying that it was related to that. But I did want to talk about some of the stuff that has really made an impact on me. Some of his works, specifically Twin Peaks.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Because with Lynch, it was never just about what he created. It was the worlds he built.
Yeah.
So not just stories, but entire universes that felt real and weird, and relatable.
Yeah.
So like watching Twin Peaks for me was like stepping into this place that's familiar but off.
Familiar yet strange?
Yeah, familiar yet strange. Like, you know these people, you've heard their stories, but then there's this like eerie stillness underneath.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, totally.
You can't quite place it, but you know it's there.
Yeah.
And then Eraserhead. Have you seen Eraserhead?
Yes.
Okay.
Another weird
How do you even describe that? I don't even. It's raw.
Yeah.
It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And somehow it's full of heart. Like, how do you do that?
That was one of his older ones, right?
I think so. It's a nightmare, but also a love letter. And he does that a lot with his movies, is he makes things weird, uncomfortable, but somehow still really resonates with people who feel things very strongly. Like me, for example. And in Eraserhead, it was like he took parenthood, anxiety, isolation, and made them tangible, which was crazy.
That was a good movie. I agree.
Yeah, and I remember picking up this book. I don't remember where I was. I was in San Francisco. We were at the Green Apple Books.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember picking out a David Lynch book, not because I mean, I knew who David Lynch was at the time, but I originally just got struck by the shape of the book, and it was like a perfect square, and tiny and blue and thin. And
Okay.
it was a hardcover, and I really, really liked just the aesthetic of it. And the writing was all in white, and it was like really pretty. And then I saw it was David Lynch, and I was like, oh shit. So I bought it, and it was really beautiful, and it like m was all his musings and just like thoughts and on tranquility and calm and
That's
all of
awesome.
that stuff. So I think the way he talked about creativity was like this patient, quiet thing,
Mm-hmm.
like fishing. He
Okay.
related it to fishing a lot. So you just wait, something will come to you, and if it doesn't, you wait some more. And with this he had this calmness, like this openness, and he didn't rush things. He let them unfold at their own pace, which I really thought was a really admirable quality in any human.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, so he will be missed.
He will be missed. His genius.
And Kyle MacLachlan was in a lot of his films and in Twin Peaks, and um, he wrote this very, very moving tribute to David Lynch's passing. It was really beautiful.
Well, that's
All about their
lovely.
friendship and cosmic fate in meeting each other and how impactful he was in his life.
That's really wonderful. That's very touching, moving.
But on to trail mix.
Are you ready for next segment?
Yep.
Moment of silence first.
Moment of silence. All right, so for trail mix, we've got first on the list is Sweet Disposition by Temper Trap. It's a song so iconic, it's practically a rite of passage for any indie playlist. You've definitely heard it, you would recognize it.
Yeah.
This track came out in 2008, but it's one of the songs that I feel like could have been written anytime, like yesterday.
Right.
It's just recognizable. And then I was obsessed with the movie 500 Days of Summer, which is really sad to admit.
Oh, okay.
But I was going through a big romantic movie phase.
Was it a rom-com?
Yeah. Yeah, I would call it that, but it's like one of the sadder ones. Like,
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah, you didn't you make me watch it?
yeah, where like you're rooting, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
You're rooting for these two to end up together.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't. Like
Yeah.
they dissolve. The relationship dissolves. Kind of like Blue Valentine. Sorry, I'm going off on
No,
a
it's
tangent,
fine.
but just yeah.
I'm
Anyway,
more of a like a rom-com, silly goof movies. A little action's fine. A little comedy with action. Anything comedy. Those sad ones, I'm like, my life's depressing enough.
your life is not depressing, Taylor.
No.
Stop. Okay.
Okay, well, anyway.
You might recognize it from 500 Days of Summer. It's in there in the soundtrack. Or maybe from that one time you were driving at sunset and it came on and suddenly life felt cinematic.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, that song.
Oh my god. That's not corny?
It is.
Yeah.
So you can cut that part out. But
Yeah.
the Temper Trap is an Australian band. And here's a little surprise that climactic build in the middle of the song. The band actually improvised parts of it during recording, which is kind of cool. They wanted it to feel organic, like it was alive and growing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Second is Matter Red by Yasser. If you're into songs that feel a little strange but somehow perfect, this one's for you. Released in 2010 on their album Odd Blood, it's got this dreamy, layered sound Yasser is known for. Part indie pop, part experimental, fully transportive. The track has this haunting beauty to it, with echoing vocals and a melody that sticks in your head long after it ends. It's not really polished or predictable, which makes it feel honest, like the kind of song you'd stumble on during a late night playlist rabbit hole. Fun little fact, the name Madder Red comes from a natural dye made from the roots of the madder plant. It's an old school reference to something raw and organic, which kind of matches the song's earthy, emotional vibe. Oh, and if you've never seen the music video, you should watch it. It's wild in the best way. Kristen Bell stars in it. You know Kristen Bell.
Yeah, I know Kristen Bell.
Yeah. She stars in it, and she acts her heart out over this bizarre blob-like creature.
Okay.
It's weird, but it works, kind of
Okay.
like the song.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we've got Babe I'm Yours by Wilk and Miskey. Get it?
Milk and whiskey.
Yeah. Wilk and Miskey. A track that feels like it was made for lazy afternoons outdoors, where time slows down and everything feels a little more vivid. It was released in 2014, and the song blends acoustic vibes with electronic beats and smoky vocals, creating something that's both mellow and hypnotic. Wilk and Miskey, they're a British duo known for their genre-bending style, and they have this knack for mixing bluesy grit with modern production. Babe I'm Yours is a perfect example of their sound, minimal but rich, with a groove that sneaks up on you. It's the kind of song that can make a quiet moment feel significant, like sitting on a rock mid-hike and just taking it all in. Fun detail, the duo recorded the track during their early days when they were making music out of a small London flat, and you can almost hear that intimacy in the song. It feels raw and unfiltered, like you've stumbled on something personal. And then it's been remixed by fans in so many ways, from dance tracks to acoustic covers, which speaks to how versatile and universally loved it is.
Well, thank you
That's
so
all I got.
much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for that.
Yep. On to the next.
On to trail etiquette and other shit. Today we're going to talk about keeping your food safe from wildlife, specifically in bear country, because we just talked about bears. When you're camping in bear country, food safety isn't just about keeping your snacks safe. It's about keeping both you and the bears safe. Here's a clear fact-based guide on how to properly use bear canisters and follow food safety practices to avoid attracting wildlife. Use a bear canister. Make sure you're using it correctly. It's not like our friends in our story today. Bear canisters are designed to be bear-proof. They are required in many wilderness areas to prevent bears from accessing your food and scent-rich items like toothpaste or sunscreen. I didn't know that toothpaste and sunscreen were something bears would be attracted to, and that smell good to them. How to use. Pack all food, drinks, toiletries, and anything with strong scent into your bear canister. Make sure the canister is sealed tightly to prevent bears from getting in. Where to store. Always store your canister 100 yards away from your tent or sleeping area. Bears have an excellent sense of smell, and keeping food close to your shelter can attract them. Don't store your food in your tent. Why? Because bears can easily associate the smell of food with humans. Storing food in your tent increases the risk of a bear approaching. What to do instead? Keep all food, food wrappers, and even scented items like chapstick, deodorant, or wet wipes in a bear canister or in a designated bear-proof locker if available. Clean your cooking area. Any trace of food or food smells left behind can attract bears or other wildlife to your campsite. Even a small amount of food residue can lead to unwanted encounters. After cooking, clean your cooking gear thoroughly with hot water and soap, making sure to wipe down surfaces and remove crumbs. Dispose of all trash properly using bear-proof garbage bins if available, or pack out. Use bear-proof food storage systems when available. Some campsites or wilderness areas provide bear-proof lockers or storage units. These are often mandatory in high-risk areas. If a bear-proof storage system is provided, use it to store your food and toiletries. Never leave food in your car or unattended at your campsite. If you don't have a bear canister, hanging your food in a tree used to be a common practice. However, it's less effective now as bears have become more skilled at accessing food in trees. How to hang. If you must use a bear hang.
How to hang.
How to hang. If you must, use a bear hang system where food is hung at least 10 feet off the ground and 4 feet away from the tree. Ideally, do this 100 feet away from your tent and sleeping area. Be mindful of cooking and eating times. The smell of cooking food can carry for miles, and it can attract bears from a distance. You want to minimize the chance of a bear noticing your campsite. Cook your meals well away from your tent and sleeping area, ideally 100 feet or more. After eating, clean up immediately and store any leftover food securely. Dispose of trash properly. Food wrappers, trash, and food scraps are all major attractants to wildlife, including bears. Improperly discarding trash can lead to bear associating campsites with food. Use bear-proof trash bins if available. If not, pack out all your trash, including food scraps, wrappers, and anything with an odor. Do not burn food waste in campfires, as this can also attract animals. Be aware of local regulations. Different parks, forest, and wilderness areas have specific rules when it comes to food storage. Ignoring these rules not only puts you at risk, but it also puts wildlife at risk. Always check local regulations before heading out. Some areas require the use of bear canisters or bear-proof lockers, and others may have additional guidelines on food storage. Understand the risk of wildlife encounters. Bears and other wildlife are naturally drawn to food sources. They have a highly developed sense of smell and can easily find food that's left unsecured. Encounters can lead to dangerous situations for both humans and animals. If you do see a bear, remain calm. Back away slowly without turning your back and avoid making eye contact. Never run. Bears generally avoid humans but can be attracted to food or strong smells. And that is what I have for you on how to keep your food safe from wildlife.
Amazing.
Mostly bears. Do you think you're going to be able to follow these essential bear canister rules your next time you're in grizzly country?
Yeah, I think that was an informative section. I didn't know a lot of that stuff about the sunscreen and the toothpaste. So
I didn't know that either.
Good tips.
Yeah. And next time I'm in grizzly country, I will do that, which will be never. So yay.
Yay.
But I guess for black bears, I wouldn't mind. I mean, I don't want to be near a black bear either. I want to be near any bears, but we have black bears and I wouldn't be, I would still be terrified.
Black bears don't cares.
They don't cares. We're going to put all of the links for everything in our show notes.
Yep, including the mutual aid funds that we were talking about for the LA fires.
Yes, that is correct. And everyone, please follow us on Patreon. Come to Patreon. There's episodes, there's trail mix, we're doing fun things over there. There's more artworky stuff and all sorts of goodies.
Yeah, and don't forget to check out our merch store because we have lots of cool things on there. Tave has designed all of the artwork for our episodes, and you can find sticker versions of those. One of them is on our laptop right now. It looks really good. That's the logo one, but
yeah,
you have all of the episode art, which is cool. We have sneakers, we have track pants, we have I said sneakers. Yes, you heard correctly.
It's the weirdest one.
We have mugs, we have shirts, we have sweatshirts,
pants.
I already said that.
Oh, bags. Notebooks.
Bags. Anything else? Magnets.
Yeah, and if there's anything that you want, let us know. We can make pretty much anything. You want underwear? I could probably do that. They have bras. You can make bras. I don't have any on the actual store, but if you want a Fall Summit bra,
a Fall Summit bra.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wear Fall Summit right on your butt. We'll make you some undies.
It's so creepy when you say the word undies. Well, I don't like it.
What? We'll make Fall Summit undies.
You didn't say the other alternative.
Panties. Yeah.
I hate it.
Cringe words. Yeah, we'll check it out. Anyway, I guess that's it from us crazy people here at Fall Summit.
Where every mountain is just one more almost there.
And if you enjoyed today's episode, please rate, review, and subscribe. And if you didn't enjoy it,
well, maybe that's your epic fail for the week.
Hee hee.
But if you've got any questions, seriously, stories or trail fails of your own, hit us up. Email us at fallsummit.pod@gmail.com or fallsummit.pod on Instagram. We'll be back next week with more tales of misadventures and questionable decisions. Until then, happy trails.
And remember, if it feels like you've reached the top, you probably haven't. See you out there.